Am I the jerk for not letting my girlfriend go to a nightclub? For the past few weeks, I've been wrestling with this question. I forbade my girlfriend, Jessica, from going to a nightclub with her friends. Now, I can't figure out if I over-control or if she put me in this position. Let me start from the beginning. Jessica and I have been together for 3 years. Our relationship seems stable. We have plans for the future, shared interests, and rarely fight. However, about 6 months ago, I noticed that she wanted more personal space. At first, it was harmless, an evening with her girlfriends, coffee dates. Then she began talking about missing the times when she could let loose. Her words didn't seem alarming, but her tone made me wonder what she felt was lacking. A couple of weeks ago, she suddenly asked how I'd feel about her going to a nightclub with her girlfriends. I didn't answer right away. For some reason, I immediately felt uneasy, even though I hadn't given much thought to this before. I asked her a few questions to understand the situation. Who's going? Where's the party? What's the occasion? She answered calmly, though noticeably irritated, saying it was just the girls and nothing special. They just wanted to relax. But I know what a girls' night out at a club looks like: dancing, cocktails, and eventually random guys trying to strike up conversations. I was honest and told her I didn't like the idea. Jessica instantly accused me of not trusting her. But that's not it. I trust her. I don't trust the environment. Any guy would know what I'm talking about. And not just guys. Imagine your partner going to a place where the vibe is practically designed for flirting. Is that really normal? We talked about it for almost an hour. I tried to explain my perspective. This isn't about control or limiting her freedom. It's about the discomfort I feel knowing she'll be surrounded by drunk strangers and potentially risky situations. But it seemed like Jessica heard something completely different. She got defensive. What if I don't drink? What if I stay close to my friends? Do you really think I can't take care of myself? Honestly, I didn't know what to say. Of course, I believe she can take care of herself. But this isn't just about that. It's about principles. In a relationship, there should be an understanding of boundaries, right? And if something makes one partner uncomfortable, the other should consider that. The conversation ended with me saying, "If you go, just know I don't support it." She went quiet, but her look said it all. She was disappointed. Later, she went to sleep in another room. 2 weeks have passed since then, and the tension at home is palpable. Jessica is still upset, although she didn't go to the club. Now I'm left questioning if I handled this the right way. Did I really overstep? The day after our argument, I decided to give Jessica some space. Maybe in a few days, things would settle down, and we could discuss everything calmly. Instead, the situation got worse. Jessica became distant, our conversations dwindled to a minimum, and even when we spoke, her responses were cold and detached. "I'll think about it, I don't know," or whatever you say. At some point, I realized I needed to figure out my own feelings. Why did this bother me so much? After all, she's an adult, and I shouldn't restrict her. But the thought of what could happen at the club wouldn't leave my mind. I decided to talk to my friend Mike, who's been married for 5 years and seemed like someone who could give me solid advice. After I explained the whole situation, he just smirked and said, "Bro, it's normal. You're jealous, and that's okay. But if you want to keep your relationship, you need to trust her." His words hit me hard. Was I really so insecure about Jessica? We've always been open with each other, and she's never given me a reason to doubt her loyalty. But a nightclub, that's different. Things took a sharp turn a week later. On Friday night, I came home from work and saw Jessica getting ready. She had chosen one of her most stunning dresses, with her makeup and hair done to perfection. I asked where she was going, though I already knew the answer. "To the club with the girls," she said calmly, as if nothing had happened between us. I felt a wave of frustration wash over me. We had talked about this, but instead of making a scene, I tried to stay composed. "I thought you understood my position," I said. She glanced at me through the mirror as she adjusted her earrings. "I understood that you want to control me." Those words triggered something in me. We started arguing right by the door. I told her she was being disrespectful. She accused me of not trusting her. And then I said something I regret to this day. "If you walk out that door, don't bother coming back." Jessica froze for a moment, then smirked. "Fine. Whatever you say," she replied and slammed the door behind her. I stood there in silence, not knowing what to do. That night, I didn't sleep. My anger quickly turned into anxiety. I stared at my phone, expecting her to text or call. But there was nothing. By morning, I decided I'd call her myself, but I didn't get the chance. She came back. Exhausted and visibly out of sorts, she walked into the apartment and went straight to bed. When I asked, "Can we talk?" she just shook her head. Now I feel like something between us has changed. It's as if we're in separate rooms, even when we're sitting next to each other. A week has passed since the night Jessica went to the club, and I can't say everything has gone back to normal. She acts as if nothing happened, but I feel that her attitude toward me has changed. There's a coldness in her voice and a distance in our conversations. At work, I kept snapping at colleagues because thoughts about that night wouldn't leave me alone. I replayed her leaving, our argument by the door, and her indifference when she came back. Every time I thought I should just apologize and move on, another part of me screamed, "No, she needs to understand why you acted this way." One evening, I finally decided to bring it up. We were having dinner, and I noticed Jessica scrolling through her phone, barely paying attention to me. "Are we just going to keep pretending everything's fine?" I asked, putting down my fork. She looked up at me, her expression tired. "I'm not pretending. You're the one who can't let it go," she said. "Jess, what exactly do you want me to let go of? Do you really think I was in the wrong?" She sighed and put her phone aside. "Listen, Ed, I don't want to feel like I need your permission to live my life. This isn't about permission. It's about respecting each other's feelings," I said. "Respecting feelings," she laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. "You mean living by your rules?" Anger surged through me. "My rules? I just don't want you doing things that damage our relationship." "You really think I damaged our relationship just by going to a club? Or is it your jealousy that's the problem?" At that moment, I realized I couldn't continue the conversation. I got up from the table and went to the bedroom to calm myself down. But the story didn't end there. A few days later, Jessica brought it up again. I was sitting on the couch scrolling through my phone when she came and sat across from me. "Ed, I don't want to fight, honestly. But you have to understand that if we can't trust each other, we don't have a future." "This isn't about trust, Jessica," I tried to explain yet again. "I'm just worried." "If you're worried, why can't you just say, 'I trust you'? Why does it always have to turn into restrictions and ultimatums?" I didn't know how to respond. She was right. But how do you just turn on trust when fears and doubts are weighing on you? That was the end of the conversation, but a new thought began to gnaw at me. I started wondering, maybe the problem really is me. A few more days passed, and I noticed that Jessica started coming home late. She claimed it was because of work, but her cold demeanor and detachment made me suspicious. I didn't know what to think. Was this just the aftermath of our conflict, or was it something more? One evening, I couldn't take it anymore. She came home close to 10, avoided my questions again, and went straight to the shower. I sat in the kitchen, staring at her phone, which she had left on the table. I had never gone through her personal things before. Even when I had reasons to feel jealous, I always told myself that trust is the foundation of any relationship. But something snapped in me at that moment. Maybe it was my insecurity, or maybe desperation. I opened her phone. Her chat with one of her friends was at the top, and I couldn't stop myself. Scrolling through the messages, I realized they were talking about that night at the club. My head was spinning as I read things like, "Is Ed still mad? You guys really have issues," and, "Well, I hope you didn't tell him about that guy." I froze. What guy? When Jessica came out of the shower, I was already sitting there, her phone in my hand. "You went through my phone?" she asked, with disbelief and anger written all over her face. "And what are you hiding from me?" I shot back, showing her the screen with the messages. She froze, her face turning pale. "Ed, it's not what you think." "Then what am I supposed to think, Jessica?" My voice was trembling. "You told me you just wanted to relax with your friends. And now I'm reading about some guy?" She sighed heavily and sat down across from me. "Fine, I'll tell you. That night, a guy did approach me. We talked for a bit. Yes, he tried to flirt, but I shut him down. That's all. And you decided to hide that from me? Because I knew how you'd react. You'd start yelling again about how clubs are the root of all evil and that I should just stay home and wait for you." Our conversation quickly escalated into a full-blown argument. But this time, I didn't try to calm her down. Then she said something that completely threw me off. "Maybe we should just take a break. You're the one who told me not to come back if I left. So why did I even come back?" I stared at her, speechless. Everything we had was crumbling right in front of me. After that night, Jessica moved in with her friend. She said she needed time to think. and I was left alone in an empty apartment, asking myself one question. Was I to blame for what happened? So, what do you think? Was I really at fault? Or is this just her way of shifting the blame for her actions onto me?